Hello, this is Beverly from scrapandthread.blogspot.com. Today I wanted to show you how to mix the Martha Stewart Craft Clay with either Reinkers that are dye-based or the Pearl X powder or the Perfect Pearls powder from Ranger. As you can see, I keep the clay in the original packaging and then I store it in a little bag with a wet or damp paper towel, and then I seal up the bag each time I use it because it will dry out pretty quickly, and I happen to live in a very dry climate, so it will dry out probably faster here than other places. I'm making this molded frame from Martha Stewart. She has several different molds. There's also the Sculpey mold as well, and you can also use the clay freeform. I am going to use the Perfect Pearls rust-colored powder for mixing with this clay, but because it is getting a little bit dried out, I've had it for about a month or so, I'm going to spritz my hand with a little bit of water and work it into the clay beforehand, and then I'm going to make it into kind of like a bowl shape so that I have a little bit of a receptacle for the powder there. You don't want your clay to be too wet, but you don't want it to be dried out either. So the more you work with it, the more you'll find what works the best for you. I do want that white frame to stay white, so I'm going to move it out of my way so I don't spill the powder, because it's a bit messy. My clay that I'm using there is probably about like a tablespoon size or large marble's worth of clay, and I'm just kind of experimenting to see what amount of pearl powder I want to use. The Perfect Pearls is a pretty intense color, and so I want to use enough to really have that come through, and so I used probably about a half a teaspoon worth of powder there. And then you'll just work the powder into it, kind of back and forth motion, pushing it in and pulling it back apart again until you get all of the colorant mixed in as well as you want it. If it's too dark, you can add a little bit more clay, or if it's not dark enough, you can add a little bit more powder. It does make your hands messy. They will turn kind of a glittery, sparkly, but it cleans up really easily with soap and water, and it doesn't discolor your molds either. So once you get it all worked in and you're happy with the color and it's a consistent color, then you're going to either work with a freeform, or you can mold it into any of those molds. Because I'm making the frame, I'm going to make it into a log first and then form it into that. I'm going to speed up the video so that you can watch it a little bit faster. Now, I spilled a little bit of powder here, so I'm cleaning that all up. If you don't clean it up and you put your white clay in there, it will make your clay have a little bit of a sparkly, but you can definitely tell that it's just little speckles. So if you're looking for that, that's great, but otherwise you want to clean that up. So you just press the clay in and make it very smooth and flat. You want to have it be something that can lay flat on your project so that your adhesive will stick to it really well. You can clean it up and cut off any stray bits or any stragglers. Okay, so I clean up my work area a little bit here in case I spill. So I don't mind if my hands have that other, the rust Perfect Pearls powder on there, because I don't care if it's a little bit glimmery when I mix this in, and this is a darker color. I'm using Close to My Heart's brown bag reinker, and because this is obviously liquid, I am not as worried about spritzing my hand to make it a little bit wet to begin with. And so then you do the exact same thing that you would have done with the powders, and you just put some of your coloring agent inside to make like a little bowl or a little well. And I found this works best because then it doesn't squirt out all over the place as much, I should say. Sometimes it does seem to squirt out and ooze out, as you can see here. And once again, this is, something that you're going to get inky or a little bit messy, but sometimes that's part of the fun. So you just mix the color together, and if it's not dark enough, you can add more. If it's too dark, you can take more of the white clay and mix it in to kind of temper the color. I like to play and see what kind of colors I want to get. If you're making a series of something and you need the colors to match up exactly, it's really best for you to just go ahead and make up all your clay at the same time, because you're just not going to remember, probably how you did it. And also, as the clay dries out, it may need more of the reinker. So I'm going to make the little frame again. So I make my little log here and just press it in again. The clay doesn't take very long to dry. However, if I am going to paint it, I will let it dry, usually for a few hours or overnight. If it turns out I don't like the color that I've made, then I can paint over it and that fixes it up. So you mix the reinkers, the perfect pearls, and the Pearl X all the same way. You just set it aside to dry and you have a great little project. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care.